What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Garage Talk Sports. I'm Mills.
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Nick.
And we are back in the garage bringing episode number 92 to you guys. We are creeping up on that century mark, so it's getting pretty exciting. We'll have to come up with something for that. But we got a great episode coming at you. We always start with our hot spots, but we're going to talk March Madness just opened up this week. I think first games were yesterday. Playing games were 2 days before that. But we do have an exciting episode, so we're going to cover some of that, kind of our takes. We didn't really get into March Madness before it started, so we will kind of dive into it a little bit this episode. We also had NFL free agency happen this past week as well.
Huge. It's been
a lot of big names on the move, a lot of teams making additions, a lot of teams losing some of their big pieces. So we're going to cover that a little bit, talk about kind of our winners and losers of free agency and just kind of how it shapes the rest of the NFL landscape going into the draft. And then, as always, we wrap up. Nick is back. Welcome back, Nick. I forgot to say that.
Yeah,
Nick is back this week, so we will have Nick's questions of the week coming back to you guys. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with our hot spots. Bobby, I'm going to send this to you first, have you lead off.
Okay, yeah. So the St. Louis Battlehawks had their first home opener, and 38,000 fans attended, which is...
It was an insane showing.
Yeah, insane amount of fans.
That's more than what goes to Rams games.
Yeah, like that just shows like we need to bring NFL team to St. Louis. Like those fans deserve it.
Well, to be fair, they didn't really support St. Louis, the Rams, very well when they were in St. Louis.
Well, yeah, but they sucked because they had Jeff Fisher.
They won a Super Bowl in St. Louis.
They also got screwed earlier, too.
Yeah, they did.
St. Louis Cardinals, and they go to Arizona, become the Arizona Cardinals. And you have the St. Louis
That's
Rams.
fair.
Now the LA Rams. Then they win a Super Bowl away from them. It's like...
We'll see. The only way a team's coming to St. Louis is if it's an expansion now. They're not going to relocate a team there.
I don't think
and I think we're a long way away from an expansion team in the NFL. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I guess you never know, right?
Yeah, you never know.
No, it was a great showing for them. Did they play in the Rams' old stadium? Is that that had to be it? That would make the most sense. Great for the XFL to see a fan base that grabs that much. That's also probably the biggest city that they're in, though, as well.
Yeah. Well, DC Defenders.
I think St. Louis might have a higher population, though.
Maybe. I don't know.
And DC also has the Commanders, so like,
it's true.
They're kind of like competing with an existing NFL fan base. They put a team that doesn't have another football team around it, and it looked good. It's good. The optics are good for them, so that's exciting for the XFL.
Go to a Commanders game, you can't have a big cup snake like they do for the Defenders, you know?
Yeah, I guess you're not.
Also, Defenders, way better name than the Commanders.
Sure.
They sound very similar to me.
Defenders just sounds way better.
It's because of the DC Defenders. It's the difference.
Yeah.
It sounds better when you put the DC part in there. It doesn't sound any better if you just talk Commanders or Defenders.
I don't think so.
The Washington Warhawks, I love alliteration.
Alliteration's key, dude. That is key.
True.
It takes a boring name and makes it that much better. But whatever, that's pretty dope for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Had to be cool for those guys. Probably the biggest crowds they've played in a long time. So that's awesome. I got to catch a little bit of that game, but I do like what the XFL's doing so far. We'll kind of keep covering it as it goes. And then if we don't mind, Nick, I'm going to pass it to you next.
My hotspot is Edwin Diaz. He gets hurt after celebrating a WBC win over Dominican Republic. Not like an exciting end to a game. It's not like it was run around base tying chance to win or whatever. But it's just it's a big game for baseball in general. Dominican and Puerto Rico were the two kind of favorites going into it. Even though they played in the same group, it was only one team's gonna win out of this group. We'll see who it is. Edwin Diaz, not a crazy jumping around or anything, just kind of hopping up around, backing up, and then all of a sudden messes up his knee, has to get taken off the field, can't
torn patellar tendon,
bend it at all, out for the whole season. Mets fans are probably pissed. They finally put a team together.
That one's tough.
To win the division. Now your closer, who was a stud ever since the 1 year after he left the Mariners when he sucked, but now he's good.
The biggest shame is that we're not going to be able to hear that entry song.
They did play it at WBC. That's pretty wild. They played it.
Oh, great, dude. They better. That's his thing, dude. It sucks. This is one of the things that gets talked about all the time. another popular conversation is the Olympics with certain sports. So hockey is always the big one because hockey made a change a few years ago where NHL pros couldn't participate in the Olympics, and it was like it was received kind of mixed bag of opinions on that one. I was a fan of it just because it avoids this kind of stuff. I'm not trying to say that the players don't want to play for their country or like shouldn't want to play for their country, but you know, your income is coming from the team in the MLB that's paying you. That's where you're making your career. So I get the pride of wanting to represent your country, but in my opinion, the players see, this is going to sound bad, but there's no way to make it sound good. The players' loyalty, air quotes around that for people who are just listening and not watching, should kind of be towards the team that's paying them their career, their salary. You know, no, I get the whole wanting to play for Puerto Rico and represent your country. And I'm not taking away from that. It just is. It's tough because then when you have this kind of stuff happen, it's like, the team that.
But baseball isn't a contact sport. Like,
that's a
freak injury, and like,
I know it's just. But anytime it happens, it's the conversation.
You can just get hurt. Like to me, that doesn't make any. Like I never got that. I never got the Olympics with the basketball players. It's like you're gonna be playing basketball anyway. You're playing basketball at a high level, and usually like no one in the Olympics is going out to hurt you. There's more guys who are trying to hurt you in a regular season game because they're pissed at you. Especially you got guys.
I'm not disagreeing.
So it's like it's gonna happen anyway. So anyone who's like, well, that's kind of
well, you can't say it's going to happen anyway.
It's if you're gonna get hurt, and like I said, like him, like jumping up around and down, like if he's gonna get hurt, like it's not like, oh well, now you're playing in the WBC, it caused you to get hurt. Like no, you might have probably gotten hurt in spring training if you did the exact same thing. So
I don't think he celebrates it in spring training. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit. I'm not like baseball's a little different because, like you said, it's not a contact sport. But whenever a star player has a season-ending injury happen when they're participating in the Olympics, World Baseball Classic, etc., that conversation's always going to come up because at the end of the day, they're getting paid millions of dollars to play in the MLB or the NHL or the NBA, and when it happens when they're not playing, that's what's going to bother. That's what causes the conversation. I'm not saying one's the right move or the other. Also, I get the argument for it, and I don't disagree with it. More so in the case of hockey because, like,
well, because mid-season.
Hockey. The Winter Olympics happen mid-season, so it's like brutal. Yeah. The Summer Olympics don't happen. That's the off season for basketball. This one sucks because it's during spring training. Like, if it's any other time during the year, but spring training is the tough one because it's like if it happens in spring training, you're just kind of like, shit. But when it happens in the World Baseball Classic, no doubt in my mind, there's people out there who are like, well, this is why they shouldn't even be participating in it.
Also, America back in the 70s beat Russia.
80s.
But. Oh, that was the 80s? Yeah, it was 80s. All right, my bad.
What kind of patriot are you?
I thought it was the 70s.
You're a fool, is what you are, Bobby. You gonna double down? You want to double down on that right now,
dude? It was 70s. I'm doubling down. Late 70s.
The Miracle on Ice.
79 or 78.
You're wrong.
No.
Yes, you're wrong.
I know.
80s.
I'll tell you. I can't tell you the exact year.
Nick will look it up right now. I'm pretty sure it was 1980.
All right, the movie.
You should have never doubled down.
The movie took place during the 70s, so.
Well, because they have to prepare for the 1980s.
Exactly.
Oh, don't you even start with me. Don't you even start. Wow. I don't want to hear it.
1980.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, like Bobby's saying late 1970s, it's not like he's wrong.
Yeah, but he is.
The movie takes place in the late 70s.
Because they're preparing. They're training. Exactly. They're practicing for it, but it happened in the 1980 Olympics.
Also, that's a great movie, man.
It's like you can't go like, oh, Michael Phelps won gold in 2016 when you meant 2012 London and go, oh, it was the last Olympic Games. It doesn't work that way, Bob. You're wrong.
That was
you doubled down.
I'm on your side with that one.
Yeah, of course you are. Nick.
I'm right there. You're
wrong.
You're wrong.
Well, you were wrong. You doubled down. Whatever. My hotspot. Michael Jordan's looking to sell the Hornets, or at least his majority shares of the Hornets. Homeboy's finally admitting that maybe he's not a great owner of a basketball organization. Some guys, you know what they say, if players play, coaches coach. Not a lot of times do players translate to great coaches, or owners in this case.
I don't know. It's a weird one for me. It's like he took over the Hornets when they were kind of nothing. He kind of built them up. I mean, actually took over them with the Bobcats. They've now become the Hornets. he's definitely grown the organization there. It's just he's just not like I feel like he's such a basketball mind where he wants to be involved in it and everything. Where it's like we have other guys that aren't so involved in basketball, like they didn't play, where they're just like they just have that mindset of trading and getting guys. It just leads to more success. But I'm not gonna say that the Hornets just kind of get screwed a little bit every once in a while too with injuries, like LaMelo Ball last year, other situations. I think it's a good move for him. I'm hoping he puts together a lot of money and buys the Bulls. I know it won't.
Yeah, that won't happen ever.
But that'd be so sick. I would love to see him own the Bulls.
That would be amazing.
That'll never happen. Reinsdorf. The only way it happens is when Reinsdorf dies, and if any of his kids decide they don't want to take over. No, I just dudes moving on from the Hornets. It is kind of just they're just like one of those teams that you're like, oh, that's right, the Hornets exist. I forget about the Hornets all the time, but they have become a lot more relevant now with LaMelo Ball. So, but how long is he out for?
The rest of the season.
Was it rest of the season? He got this ankle surgery or broken ankle, whatever it was. That's tough. But yeah, there's not much to add to that one there. No, it's just kind of like he's looking to sell them, get out of it. I mean, he's owned them for how long now?
Long time.
It'll be interesting to see
probably 10 years about
what comes of the organization when he sells. But that'll kind of do it for our hotspots, and we will move into March Madness. So we are having week 1 or the round of 64 currently going on. Already some big upsets. Pissed off at a certain team that's out on the in the Southwest.
Is it Arizona?
Yeah, I'm pissed at Arizona. It's just they lose to 15 Princeton. Princeton of all teams, you lose to Princeton. And then the other big one is Furman beating Virginia. Now I like watching Virginia lose. It's just like it's just become like the running joke with the March Madness now is them getting upset in the first round.
They're upset in the first round, or they make it to the championship.
Yeah, no in between. That if I had to say which loss was probably more heartbreaking to endure, I would say it was the Virginia one, just because of the nature of how it happened.
Yeah, like you're an idiot.
Just a goofy throw. Just what?
Make those free throws.
What are you saying?
What do you make the free throws? Like he missed. If he made those free throws, they don't lose. One of them.
I mean, yeah, but the biggest thing was the guy just throwing the ball to midcourt.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm referencing.
Like, but I'm saying like any of those scenarios happen, but make the free throws. And the guy was shooting 80% for free throws all year.
Yeah, games are won on the free throw line, man.
Yeah.
Sort of. Games are put away on the free throw line. Exactly, we'll say games are put away on the free throw line. Yeah, no, that's tough, but that was just a freak play. I mean, I get what he was trying to do. Problem is, he went to try and like get a pass off as opposed to just get the ball away. Yeah. And so, hey, you got burned for it. Congratulations to Furman. That's a big upset. But then the big talk is obviously Princeton taking down Arizona. Man, they made Arizona look kind of just lost.
Yeah.
In the last like 5 minutes. Arizona looked like they didn't know ball. They don't know ball.
They did not know.
Looked like they didn't know what to do. It was a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it hero ball being played by Arizona, but it just felt like whoever had the ball in their hands, their only goal was to score, like drive and score on their own and not like pass to find the open guy. Because then it just turned into throwing up shots, taking bad like contested layups and stuff. It was just very sloppy. Hurt my bracket very hard. I had them in the Final Four, so.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where March Madness comes down to 3 things. It's coaching is the most important.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not a good, well coached, it doesn't matter how talented your team is, you're not going to do well. 2 is when you're actually playing in the game. I mean, I played high school basketball, not the same as March Madness, but it's like when you're playing teams that you know you should be beating and you look up at the scoreboard and it's close, then that turns into when you want to take over the game because you're like, well, we should be winning. I'm playing my game well. But for some reason, they're just close. So you're like, wow, I have to just take over the game. And then that's what's lead to those poor shots and poor possessions. And then third and last important is it's free throws and then just making like smart decisions. Like if you just do what you're supposed to do, make free throws, box out, you're probably going to win games if you're the more talented team.
Yeah.
But the problem is these teams like Princeton come in, they box out on every play, they always go after loose balls, and they're disciplined on offense where they're like, I don't always have to take the shot, I can pass around.
Another
and then they just go through, and they're just all of a sudden now they're in the lead, and Arizona's like, well, what do we do now?
another thing I feel like you can see a lot in March Madness over the years is conditioning. Like when a team like Princeton comes in and they're hanging with Arizona as long as they have, and you don't see them getting tired, it's kind of demoralizing a little bit. And it's also it's a huge credit to how they prepare for their games and everything, obviously, but like being able to go against the faster, better opponent and maintain their speed the whole time, for all you know, they'll wear down faster than you. And in what seems to be a common trend is even small schools manage to get really big, big, tall guys.
Yeah.
And college basketball is a game where size is like huge. Who can win in the paint? And if you can put one or two guys on the court who can match up size-wise against the big men on these bigger teams, you have just as good a shot as anyone. Especially Princeton. I mean, those guys they were hitting pretty well from three as well.
Yeah.
And you just got to get streaky. If you can get enough of a streak going for your team, next thing you know, everything's falling for you, and it's just too easy.
Yeah. Well, like now you see more like competitive edge because of the transfer portal. Like now it's so big that everyone's like, you could just transfer and immediately play. That like even smaller schools are getting these big guys that can contribute right away. So
Yeah.
definitely like lessen the gap of like talent.
Yeah, but through these two upsets, and then Penn State also beat who did they face?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. That was another upset, but that was a 7 and a 10. But following the Penn State win, there are 181 perfect brackets. That could be a different number by the time we get this episode out and everything. It will be. It will be.
It definitely will.
Guaranteed will be. It could be a different number as we're speaking it right now.
Probably is.
But that's where it was at the time of us planning all this. So just whack, dude. March Madness, it's incredible.
It's the madness.
It's
called
Nothing like it, honestly.
This is like the worst year by far I've ever had.
Oh, dude, my bracket's toast.
I started off so well. I'm still doing pretty well, especially with like a lot of the games that I've lost. I had them losing in the second round, so I'm pretty like still okay with getting total points.
Yeah.
But it's just like I was telling Andrew yesterday, I was perfect going up to the Arizona loss, and I just want one time for just day one. I want to be 16 games to 16 games. Never done it before. Like that's even harder to do. Like there's still another,
Yeah,
16
it's
games
just
for the first round to get right.
Yeah.
If you still get that right, there's
odds,
still a
man.
whole bunch of other stuff that needs to happen.
the odds of the perfect bracket are insane.
It really is.
Yeah, it's what, and it comes down to like for me, it's like as soon as game day one happens, everything changes. For me, in my brackets, I have UCLA winning and Texas winning. But if you ask me who I think is going to win it all, I have Alabama because Alabama had the easiest road because they're the number one overall consensus seed, which means every seed is the worst seed.
Worst of their seeding, yeah.
So the Arizona is the worst 2 seed of all the 2 seeds, and they're in their section. Well, now Arizona lost. And
So now you got the worst 15 seed.
So now you have the
and
worst.
still
15
going on.
seed.
You got to, yeah.
And then also in that, I gotta pull up the bracket. There was another big name team that lost in the top. Oh, Virginia.
Yeah.
So Virginia's out and Arizona's out. So Alabama already has the easiest road to the Final Four. Well, now they have the way easier road because they don't have to go through their number 4 team in that conference bracket section.
Yeah,
or the
that
2
region.
And
Region, I think is what
if
it
you
is.
can get to the Final Four, it doesn't really matter if you're playing good teams or not. Your guys are getting used to playing in the big arenas with a bunch of fans in a neutral site. By the time you get to the Final Four, your team's nowhere near as tired.
You should be gelling, man.
You
Like,
should be good. Your form should be good. And Alabama's just been good all season. So like
They have.
to me, it's like they've never. UCLA lost a big guy. I probably would have picked UCLA, except they lost one of their best players right before the season or right before the tournament started. Alabama still had all their guys. They probably have the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. So it's like it's hard to pick against them right now.
no, that's fair. My pick in my bracket was Purdue. I'm being very hopeful with the Purdue thing. I just decided I don't like taking Big Ten teams,
They're
but
always trash.
I just was like, you know what? They got that Zach Edey dude who's just massive. He's
7'6", 7'5".
he's crazy tall.
Yeah,
I'd like to
big.
think this is the year Purdue kind of puts it together, but they might they could lose to Farley Dickinson.
They're up 2 with 2:46 left in the first half right now.
Oh boy.
We got to wrap this up so we could get back and watch it. And
Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm telling you, if I put my eyes on that game, Purdue is going to fall apart.
And that and with that goes my entire bracket.
True.
Now I'm aware that I think Purdue is the longest shot out of all the ones, personally.
Yeah.
But I decided to go in on them, double down, and we'll see what happens with that one. But I really thought that Arizona was going to hold up better than they did, and that disappointed me. I had them knocking out Alabama in the Elite Eight, so that one.
A lot of people did.
I like Arizona. There's two teams every March Madness that I always go back and forth on if I should like put all my trust in them, and it's Arizona and Michigan State. And Michigan, this is the first year I did not pick Michigan State to win in the first round, and they won. I picked the upset because I was like, Michigan State hasn't been the same program as they've been in the past. You know, at some point I have to move on from picking them all the time. Nope, here they are. But then when I, take them to win it all, they lose to number 15 Buffalo, and they're the 2 seed. But we're going with Purdue.
That's why it's March Madness.
Madness.
Big Ten
It's
teams.
the greatest thing in sports.
Yep.
Big Ten teams in every sport are just,
Except wrestling.
yeah.
Those Midwestern boys.
Yeah, those corn-fed,
got
those
those
corn-fed Iowa blood boys. Yeah, no, it just is like
Jake Tyler is
I'll
proof of that.
I'll never understand how Big Ten teams can look so good the entire time in the regular season, and no matter the sport. But then the second it's postseason time, they all look like they don't belong on the field or court with certain teams.
With the exception of Ohio State playing Georgia this year. And
Yeah. And even then, that's strictly football.
that was
speaking of
only
Ohio State.
yeah, exactly. That was the only time I've ever.
But they
seen
just
that
always I just don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Bobby, give us your pick.
Oh, I'm going Texas. I've been high on them all year.
That is true. You have mentioned them.
Normally, I'm a UCLA fan, and I would be rooting for UCLA, but Johnny Juzang's not on the team, so I think I'm jumping Texas. Texas is my pick, and they play
Throw them up.
horns, man.
No, that's not it. It's this. It's this.
Horns. Yeah, there we
Hook
go.
'em horns.
Hook 'em horns. There we go.
Hook them down.
Horns down.
Horns down, baby. Horns down.
I think I have UCLA beating Texas when they meet. No, I think I switched it last second because I was like, you know what? Horns up.
Purdue's
up.
losing now.
It's fine. There's
Bobby just to talk about it.
tons of basketball left.
I'm not rooting against you. It's just
It's really cool. It's really cool. I don't mind. It's all good.
Once the perfect bracket's ruined, upset city,
Yeah.
baby. I don't care. I don't. Really
Yeah, at this point, Princeton needs to go as far as they possibly can.
Is Princeton going to be like St. Peter's?
No.
No chance. But I need Princeton to win all the games that I had Arizona winning, just so.
They're playing Mizzou next. I could see them winning that. Then they play Creighton or Baylor. Both of those teams are very well coached. That's where it's like, you never think Princeton's going to beat Arizona because both of those teams are well coached. 15 seed, 13 seed is always going to beat a better, not as disciplined team. Mizzou, depends what team they come out and play. They might not. Creighton and Baylor, regardless of what team shows up, they're going to be well coached. They're going to be disciplined. So that's where Princeton's going to falter because they're going to need to step up and make big time shots, which they did against Arizona to win. But it's got to keep happening. St. Peter's was just
An anomaly.
enigma.
Where did that Doug guy go? He transferred, right?
I think so.
I have no idea.
I think he transferred to another small, like mid-tier school.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Couldn't tell you.
What?
The stash. We're talking about the mustache.
Yeah, Doug guy. Yeah.
Let's look him up. You guys keep the conversation going. Keep it alive.
It's weird though, because I know Andrew wants Purdue to win. He's a big Purdue guy, but for me, out of the 2 1 seeds, Kansas and Purdue are the weaker of the two, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Kansas hasn't been playing like up to like their winning level all year, and it's like you lose to Kansas State. I forgot who else was there like big loss.
They lost to TCU.
Yeah, TCU.
It's hard. Like I had the same thing. I follow, and it's like it's teams I can follow closely. Like usually I follow teams in the top 10 pretty much. It was back when U of I had Io and Kofi, and they were number 1, and I said, "Watch out, they're not going to be that good." And that's when they lost to Loyola that year as the 8 seed. And I was like, sometimes when you get put in that number 1 seed, even if you deserve it, your team is like, "Oh, we can just coach 3 games," and then you just get punched in the mouth in round 1 or round 2, and you just fall apart. For me, that's Kansas. For me, it's not so much Purdue because Purdue's going to play their game. It's just, it scares me when your whole offense kind of revolves around your big guy. Zach Edey's had 8 games with 30 points and 10 rebounds. Yeah, Big Ten played very weak this year, so you're playing a lot of those teams twice.
And every game I've watched him, he's played like shit. Yeah.
He transferred to Bryant University.
Bryant. They didn't make the tournament this year.
No, they did not.
Oh.
I am assuming
they made it last year.
I'm assuming he probably made a transfer for academic reasons, not basketball reasons, but
Who knows?
you still want to be in the tournament.
He also has his NIL deal with Buffalo Wild Wings that he signed last year.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
At
took
the
the
end.
money you ran.
Yeah, he took the money and ran.
That's all you got. Like,
I respect it.
get your
He's
money.
like Andrew's favorite quarterback, Danny Dimes.
Take your money.
Get that bag.
No.
Secure the bag. Move on. It's when you're in a situation like that, and you have that. You've got to capitalize on that.
I have nothing. I always say, let the guys get their money.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not.
saying, like,
I don't
you're-
blame
yeah,
Daniel
you're saying-
Jones for signing it.
Boom, go. Like,
I'm sorry if I was ass at playing football and a team was like, hey, we'll pay you $40 million a year. Hell yeah, I'll sign the contract. I don't care. I'll let New York hate my guts. I'll let everyone say I don't deserve the contract. At the end of the day, the organization that paid me is the fools for doing it. So I have nothing against Daniel Jones signing the contract. I have everything against the Giants being foolish enough to give him that kind of money. That's where that's where it needs to kind of differ here. Is
So
credit to him and his agent.
What I'm hearing is that your morals against hating New York would change if millions of dollars were given to you.
No, well, in my current situation, yeah. Yes, if the Giants called me and said, hey, Andrew, host of Garage Talk Sports, come play quarterback for us and we'll sign you a $40
this is
million.
episode like
Look at
71.
this.
They heard they're gonna we're gonna get 30 yards out of him on 25 carries. Bring him in.
If that happens, yeah. I'll go to Timbuktu and play. I do not care for millions. Yes, that's a whole different story. Now, if I was a play,
Yeah.
if I
classic American.
Yeah.
you're so you
Oh.
two are full of
No,
shit.
I have morals.
Yeah.
alright?
We
Oh,
have
yeah?
morals
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, that's right. Really?
I'm not going to play for the Buccaneers because I just don't like them.
Okay.
Now even if they offer me $10 million, still turning it down.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Well,
I'm gonna call up the Bucks real
I'll
quick.
be honest. If Houston offered me any amount of money, I would say no. I'm not going.
The Texans.
I don't.
You
care
know
if
you
it's 100
wouldn't,
million.
Bobby. You would not say no. You would not.
I would
Don't bullshit.
100% say no.
No, you would not.
Any other
Houston Texans call you up and go, hey, Bobby, we'll give you $20 million a year for 3 years to come be on our team.
Click. That's for my boy Lovey and Dave Cully. Boom. How they feel? There you go. There they go.
You're full of shit. You are so full of it. The only team I would ever say no to is Green Bay. And even then, I wouldn't say no to that offer.
Look at him. Look at him.
It's the truth, Bobby. I'm a realist. Don't act like you would.
You money hungry.
you're like-
You,
you're like-
you guys would not pass that up.
You're
Don't
like
even come at
Gollum.
me.
There's
from Lord
no
of the
way
Rings.
you could not pay me enough money to play for the Houston Astros. That organization.
Yes,
is
you could.
Full of cheaters. No, not against my Mariners.
That
no
might
way.
be the only way you're actually good if you know the pitch coming to you. So.
Oh, I'm not hitting. Are you kidding me? I'm not taking a ball off
But
the
I mean-
face.
I'm sorry. You would
What,
take
you're
the
gonna
contract
pitch?
from the. You would take a
I'm gonna
contract from the
pitch.
You're
I'm
Astros.
throwing lobs. They're just hitting over my head. I'm not even worried about getting
True.
hit.
Did you guys see what's that guy? They were from Czech Republic, I think, where he was like pitching against I think it was Japan. Yeah, he was pitching against Japan, and he struck out the side, and it was like Shohei and everything. Fastest ball he threw was 79 miles an hour.
That's all you need.
Yeah, it was
That's all you
Location.
need, dude.
Control and location.
Yeah.
You would take a contract from the Houston Astros.
No, I wouldn't. Call
Okay.
me up. I'll tell you no.
Okay. Yep.
Never
Well,
call me up. Nope.
But
They're gonna listen to this, be like, let's test this theory. He said he'll say no. We don't need to have it on the books. You would take that contract, and I would take a contract to go to New York.
All right.
I'm not a fool.
Your new nickname is Gollum. from
Sure,
Lord of the
whatever.
Rings.
Whatever you want to call me, Bobby. You're full of shit if you wouldn't take a $20 million a year from the Houston Texans. You're full of it.
All right, but
let's get into the NFL
we'll
offseason.
Go ahead and get in.
Give us a
We are
rundown,
not on the
Bob.
boards.
Give us a rundown.
All right, quick rundown. Well, obviously, Bears make moves. We got good linebacking core. We signed an offensive lineman and the end, like lower middle tier. But linebacking core, locked down. We got a good offense. We're solid. I think we're in a good place. So I would give us very high.
The way you said that does not instill confidence in me as
That's a great rundown, Bobby. So NFL free agency happened this week.
We got the Bears.
And this was, I would say this was a relatively weaker free agency class. Not tons of offensive weapons available, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
A lot of I would rate them as B plus players hitting free agency. Not a ton of bona fide stars. Who would you say the biggest name that hit free agency was?
Like Orlando Brown.
Yeah,
Jr.,
him and Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, Michael McGlinchey.
A lot of guys, a lot of big names are under contract. I mean, the biggest news that happened is trade related in free agency, to be honest. But there's just a lot of pieces moving around. Like you said, Bobby, the Bears made some great additions. They did sign Tremaine Edmonds, who, if you guys remember, was on my wish list.
He was.
I thought they were going to get Bobby Okereke, and I thought the wishful thinking was Tremaine Edmonds, but Bobby Okereke was the more practical one. Went the other way, perfectly cool with me.
I'm very happy with that.
I'll take it, right? But so they went with that. They got TJ Edwards, a nice high upside signing. Didn't have to break the bank for him. He had 100 and something tackles last year.
He had a good year.
What's up?
High motor guy.
Yeah, they have a good linebacking core, which they need that because one of those two guys is going to be the quarterback of your defense.
And Nick, tell him what you said when we were talking about Roquan Smith deal.
Oh yeah, both of these guys are pretty much your money you're spending on Roquan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you could be mad as a Bears fan because you draw especially with the Bears, you draw an attachment to those middle linebackers. We had Briggs, we had Urlacher. It's you want every guy that comes in that position, you want to be that, that.
And when they are as good as Roquan was, it's that much harder to swallow.
But you're trading, a superstar level who's going to wow you with the stats, wow you on the stat sheet with two guys who are going to give you that same energy and effort for the same price. So it's
they're two different positions, both linebacker, but there are two holes on your defense as opposed to the one. So when all is said and done, I think everyone will agree Poles probably could have gotten a little bit better return for the Roquan trade. But in terms of how he played the cap and the money situation, what he would have spent just on Roquan, he improved the defense in two areas instead of keeping one stud. You know what I mean?
Roquan, you still have another hole at your other linebacker position, and you don't get that pick.
Yeah, and so
Baltimore.
The Bears were pretty active. They still have about $45 million in cap space. Obviously, the big move that they made was trading the first overall pick. We touched on that last week. We don't need to get into too many details. But as it stands, the Bears are looking up. I don't think they'll be a crazy good team next year, but they should be improved, at least on the offensive side of the ball. We still have to see what they're going to do draft-wise. I have a feeling they're probably going to go O-line with that first pick. And then most of the draft after that seems like it's going to be defense, specifically that front four, front seven-ish.
No, I agree. And
then some secondary help.
Running back.
They'll probably take a guy late.
Now that Montgomery's gone, they're not going to be drafting someone to get actual downs, but it's going to be a third down back who's going to, when they've got two running backs out there or something like that, they're going to go after him because now your running back depth is getting a little bit weaker.
Yeah,
right. So all said and done, the Bears were pretty active. I liked it.
No, I agree. And
Broncos were another team that were active, and so let's this is who we kind of have pegged as our winners of free agency, and this can be based on value, high value, low contracts, or just in terms of overall talent, like big names and big moves they brought in. Bears we have on there because I think it was going to be hard for the Bears to not be winners in free agency this year. Broncos were kind of a surprise one for me. I didn't even think they were in the running to go big like they did with McGlinchey and who's the other guy?
Ben Powers.
Yeah, so they made some big moves. Dolphins, their big thing is they traded for Jalen Ramsey
for pennies on the dollar.
But you brought in one of the best corners in the league to pair with Xavier Howard, right?
Yeah.
Xavier.
For a third round pick. And a tight end who has
whatever his name is.
There's two
career catch.
Yeah.
Xavier Howard is the cornerback, and then Xavier Holland is the free safety.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got a good secondary. they got it. They're already pretty solid on offense. We just kind of see what they do at the quarterback position.
And the only thing they really lost was Gesicki to Patriots, who's another winner.
Yeah, Patriots brought in Juju and Gesicki, so they went and finally decided to go after like a proven talent in terms of wide receiver. Because I'm not saying Juju's a star, but he's better than Jacoby Myers was your best wide receiver. That's not great.
Yeah.
I like the Gesicki move. Nick, we all know you love Mike Gesicki.
I think he's a good target to throw to, and I think the Patriots finally realized when they had Tom Brady, you could put no-name receiver. I think the same thing with the Packers. You can put no-name receivers out there, and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are going to make them better. When you have Mac Jones out there, he can't really make them better. They have to be open for him to get them targets.
Yeah,
Mike Gesicki is going to be that open guy.
Yeah,
for Mac Jones to develop his career.
This is good for Mac Jones too, because I thought he got way too much hate last year.
Yeah,
people didn't really. I don't think people looked at how inept that offense was on paper, and the fact that a defensive coordinator is calling your offensive plays. Mac Jones was put in a tough position to succeed, and it didn't help the Bailey Zappi stuff that happened. But he quickly came back down to earth as well.
He did.
So this is good for Mac Jones. The Patriots, I think, finally, like you said, Nick, they acknowledged, we actually have to go and like try and bring in talent and not hope our quarterback elevates every single player to great talent like Tom Brady did. That's just that's not practical. It's not a great way to go about it. The odds of you pulling that off twice and you're with two quarterbacks in a row is, damn near impossible. The only team we've seen that happen to is Green Bay. So, and then in another team, Giants. We mentioned the Patriots already. Giants are another winner we have there. Getting Darren Waller was big.
I feel so bad for Giants fans because it's very similar to me with the Mets in baseball. You get Darren Waller as a tight end, which they've needed a tight end for a while. And then you got Bobby Okereke on defense, so to pair with Kayvon Thibodeau and all that. But you're still in the division with the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders, who show times when they can flare up. So it's like your team can get as good as you want, but you're still in that powerhouse.
And your quarterback's still ass.
He's average.
But
your quarterback's average.
In all fairness, they have the best coach in that division.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. They have, well, I don't know, dude. Let's not take some.
Nick Sirianni.
I don't like Nick Sirianni very much, but you can't. He took them to the Super Bowl. I can't say Dable.
Okay,
Dable won Coach of the Year. Yes, but I think it was easier to win Coach of the Year with a terrible team making the playoffs for the first time in several years than Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as clear cut who the better coach
if the Eagles
is.
have great success this year on offense, then Nick Sirianni is better coach than Brian Dable because now this is year 2 of this is going to be a new offense coordinator coming in. So if Nick Sirianni could steady the ship and have a great year again, it's like, okay, well, Brian Dable, you came into a organization where you built up. Nick Sirianni had to repair his own organization that he built up.
Yeah. And then honorary mention, I will throw in the New York Jets just because of the news with Aaron Rodgers saying that his intention is to play for the Jets. All that's waiting there is that'd be a trade move, obviously. So that's just waiting on the compensation. What are the Packers willing to give up, or what are the Jets willing to give up to get Aaron Rodgers? From what I understand, Packers are trying to milk a little bit more out of the Jets than they're willing to go. I think both teams think they have more negotiating power than they actually do. The Jets, in my opinion, have a little bit more just because, okay, fine. How about you roll back? You just let all of your weapons, air quotes around that again, because Alan Lazard is not a weapon. He's a complementary piece. All of your starters on that offense have signed either with us or somewhere else. Go ahead, pay $50-something million to Aaron Rodgers and have him throw to practice squad guys, and then be in the same boat again next year. And you'll probably have to cut him or trade him for even less. Yeah. Our team as the Jets, we're still very young. We have a mid-first round pick. Are we willing to wait around another year and go at it again? Probably.
Yeah, and your defense is only going to. I just hope that NFL fans around the league, and especially Packers fans, realize that everyone calls Rodgers a baby, he's a prima donna, all this. Aaron Rodgers mentioned on Pat McAfee's show that his intentions to go to the Jets. In that time that he said that, they already put more work to get the weapons he wanted than the Packers have since he's been on the team.
Well, so the weapons they got are former Packers.
I understand
that. Well, that was his free agent wish list.
He said that was all BS.
If Aaron Rodgers can come in and say, "I have the intentions of going there," and the Jets already try to get players that are going to benefit him, the Packers sit there with a top 5 quarterback for a long time in in your organization as your quarterback, and you don't even like ask him who they want to take in the draft, and then you go and trade up to get Jordan Love. I'm sorry, but like if I'm Rodgers, I'm pissed off. Like, yeah, it bothers me. Like, I'm gonna kind of start to act like a bitch because you're not respecting me and what I've done for the organization.
This scenario we're describing pretty much puts the Packers as one of the big losers of free agency.
They have to be.
Just because, one, they actually lost guys in free agency. I don't think they brought in anyone, really. At least nothing notable. They lost starters on offense. Aaron Rodgers wants to go.
Yeah,
good for Jordan Love if it works out. I feel like he needs to get his shot at the very least, but I hope he sucks. I hope he's terrible.
Yeah, and also the Aaron Rodgers, it's like you guys should have traded him last season. Like that was the most you were gonna get for him.
Yeah, coming off an MVP year.
And like
it is what it is. Other losers though, I'm gonna throw the Raiders out there just because I believe that they were in on trying to trade up with the Bears.
Yeah.
They lost out on their chance to get one of the quarterbacks that they want, so they signed Jimmy G. Not that Jimmy G's he's bad or anything, but it's not the move fans were looking for. It's not the move the organization was looking for. And then you traded Darren Waller right after that.
Yeah,
so
for a 3rd round pick. And
they franchise tag Josh Jacobs, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They franchise tag. So mind you, it's like Jimmy G and Derek Carr are like interchangeable in my opinion. Like they're both gonna give you about the same amount of production.
But the difference is Carr was gonna make about $30 million more this year.
I get
staying.
Right.
So it's just, this is obviously just he's a placeholder quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a whatever you want to call him. He's just there to fill the gap until they get someone. Which good for him. I mean, more power to you, Jimmy. Keep getting money from all these teams.
Yeah. But it's weird because he didn't really get like that much. I mean, like
at some point, quarterbacks have to be realistic with what their market is.
Yeah,
Jimmy G's market. I think he's perfectly happy to go play in Vegas, a pretty dope ass city to live in, if you ask me. I don't know if I'd want to live there, but I enjoyed when we visited.
Yeah.
Well, if you're living there, it's a starting quarterback for.
Yeah, I think it's kind of. I think it's Jimmy G's kind of placed where he wants to be.
Oh yeah, we know.
So he'll take $20 million. He'll take 20 something million dollars a year to be the quarterback there. It's a realistic contract where if anyone, he's getting paid what Daniel Jones should get paid, is how I view it. And I view them as pretty similar in terms of their production. Yeah. Difference is Jimmy G wins more. But that's more of a team thing than individual quarterback thing at that case.
Yeah.
Other losers, though, Rams were really inactive, didn't do much, just dipped. They just moved on from Jalen Ramsey. Texans, another team that you would have. They signed what's his face, Jimmy Ward, which is a good move. But usually when you see those teams that are at the bottom, you want to they're about to go and get their franchise quarterback. Hopefully, you'd maybe want to see them be a little more active, to try and bring some stuff in to give that rookie quarterback a chance.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call them losers. It's just, for me, to lose in free agency means you didn't really do anything or you lost a lot of players. Yeah. And when you don't really do anything, you can't. You're just.
It's to me with the Bears. There. If the Bears only traded number one, and that's it. They'd be losers in my mind.
I agree.
But it's like when you have so much money to spend, and a lot of the holes that you have on your team can be filled with free agency. You got to go and make that move. Like the Texans, they have holes in every position pretty much. They went and got Jimmy Ward, great pickup, great guy. He's going to fill that hole for you, but you're also going to go and take either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud at number 2. You can't always just throw to one guy on offense. We've seen that happen so many times with young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Justin Fields looked like garbage throwing the ball.
You have no one. You can't only have Brandon Cooks.
So now you're going to throw to Brandon Cooks, and your running backs are going to be...
They're talking about trading Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there because it makes no sense because now you're talking about moving on from your only proven wide receiver, and
that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, unless they're going in on like a multi-year tank situation. Hopefully, maybe they're going for like a Bears thing. Let's get our franchise quarterback and then end up with the first overall pick after that and try and get a bunch for it.
There's my thing right now with that. Like, I understand teams doing that. Like, that
but I don't think
sense.
the Bears did that intentionally either.
Yeah, but here's what I would do. If I'm the Texans ownership and I'm looking at that of like, okay, it doesn't matter who we get. Like, we could get Patrick Mahomes, the next coming Patrick Mahomes right now. We're still not going to win this year. We're still going to be pretty bad. And then with the division we're in, we're probably not going to have that much success unless we kind of stack up some of our things. So if you can, why not trade 2 away to a team like Carolina already made the move up to number 1, so they're good. But before the Bears made a move, they could have tried to trade 2 to any of those teams to try to pass the Colts. They're like, all right, come and take the quarterback. We're not going to tell people we're going after this, but do it. Then next year, try to pull something like the Jets did or the Giants did, where you're taking 2 guys in the top 10. The Giants took no quarterbacks in the top 10, and they still had an amazing year compared to the previous year.
Yeah.
Like, if you're starting to do that, you realize your holes are very apparent on both sides of the ball. At a certain point, you have to be like, hey, maybe we don't mortgage everything on this unproven rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
Maybe we wait,
that's the
get a rookie
challenge,
quarterback
though, is
and a wide receiver, a rookie quarterback and a running back that we can kind of just pair together. The stress is, divided between the 2 young guys. It's like it's not all on the quarterback's shoulders to try to turn the dumpster.
It's tough, though, because if a team really believes they're getting their Pat Mahomes, they're not going to risk not getting him.
And on top of it, they're picking at 12 again this year.
Oh, yeah. They're 2 and 12.
Yeah. So,
yeah, Texans are a little different situation. And then, but the final loser I had, which this team I think had a really bad free agency, is the Vikings. All they've done is make cuts. They've cut guys. Their defense, which was terrible last year, all of their good pieces, short of Harrison Smith.
Yes, Harrison Smith came back.
He's back, but he's coming. He's getting up there.
Kendricks is gone.
But all of their good pieces on that terrible defense are gone.
Yeah.
They're in cap hell. They're going to have to pay Justin Jefferson, and dude, they're just in a bad spot. And you really couldn't afford to lose your good defensive players and not try to fit. I mean, you signed Marcus Davenport to a 1-year deal. That's great.
Yeah, they signed him, and then they've signed Byron Murphy.
But still, your defense was bad. And you've lost more than you've brought in on that side of the ball.
Byron Murphy really only replaces Pat Pete.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the thing. You're still losing out. Yeah. So they did not have a very great free agency.
Figure you out as an offense, where it's like, just double cover Justin Jefferson. To me, it rests, the whole offseason rests on if they can get Dalvin Cook back to what he was a couple years ago.
I agree.
Because if they could do that, then teams that are like, Bears got a lot better this offseason. Lions got a lot better this offseason. Packers are washed. You have no idea what the hell is going to happen out of that. So Vikings were number 1. They're probably not going to finish number 1 if it's how it is right now. But if Dalvin Cook returns to 2016, 2017 Dalvin Cook, I could very well see them being number 1. But you can't assume that that's going to happen. Now with how your defense is.
Right. You're
in limbo. And that's where, like, to me, it's not like such a big winner of the free agency, but I would put the Lions almost as like a big winner just in general. Because they've made moves to fill some gaps. Jamal Williams gone, David Montgomery in. But
Cam Sutton.
The Bears are still not ready.
Help.
They might have a good year, but they're still not going to be ready to like defend for a division title. The Packers, if they lose Aaron Rodgers, are definitely declining. Vikings are declining. So it's like,
this is the Lions' best
start to put their pieces
This
together.
is their best. This is their window at the division right now, for sure.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers leaves.
It's wide open at that point.
Yeah, it's wide open, and
I still think the Vikings are the favorite just because of how good their offense is. Yeah. And the Lions' defense wasn't very good last year either. Honestly, none of the defenses in the NFC North were particularly special.
But you got to think, like, Lions have 2 first-round picks. They go and sign cornerback. They really needed cornerback help, so they go. Yeah,
they have the best chance to go overnight or in one offseason straight to a division winner.
Yeah, and it's like,
I think.
Yeah, so your first 2-round picks, it's like, okay, maybe if you really like a receiver, since you did lose DJ Chark, like, you go after a receiver, but I would think you'd probably get more defensive picks. Like, they're going to go defense heavy.
I think they're going to really
improve
try for
their
that
defense.
Cornerback from U of I. Just get a stud, like consensus good D back in the league. It's like get a young guy. I think Sauce Gardner has changed it too, where it's like a guy who's good in college can come and instantly make an impact in the league. Yeah, and I think some teams were like wary on that. It's like, oh, it's a college cornerback. He's going up against the best talent ever. It's like, yeah, but if he is just that lockdown guy, he's going to be that lockdown guy.
It's all about how you grade guys out. I think they'll probably go defensive back as I don't know who, but I think they'll go D back and probably an edge.
Yeah, edge.
Pair someone across from Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, well, like they're talking about like there's 15 edge rushers in this draft class that they think could all potentially go first round.
Yeah, this is a deep draft
it's
for
a
the edge
deep-
rusher position. So
Yeah.
if I'm the Lions, I'm only going defense. If I'm the Vikings, I'm only going defense as well. Like those are you've already proven that your offense is good. Make your defense just better. You know,
Yeah.
Make it so your offense doesn't have to score basically every
Yeah,
time.
you don't want Kirk Cousins having to come back from down 33-0.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know.
Kirk Cousins, 11 comebacks last year. That's too many times to have to come back from behind, and they scored a lot. They averaged a lot of points a game.
Yeah.
That's not good. You have to get better on defense. So luckily, this is the draft class to do it.
No, it really is.
And but yeah, those are winners and losers of free agency. It kind of shapes up the draft a little bit. You know, like we just said, those teams should go defense heavy. Bears probably going to go one offensive lineman, and then I expect them to go heavy on defense. This is just a good draft for defense for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
But
I think that's where you can see in the Bear. We talked about the Bears already, going kind of offensive line heavy in some of the trades and stuff like that, and getting middle linebackers. There's not a lot of linebackers in the draft. They feel more confident getting edge guys. So it's like,
yeah,
you know,
no, it
fill
all
your gaps and then worry about the draft. Now
Yeah.
Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus can really focus and be like, we're going to get our guy that fills the hole.
right.
A lot of other GMs and our losers mainly is you didn't fill any of your holes, and now it's like now your draft is still everybody on your board is still on your board.
Yeah, it puts that much more pressure on you to draft well as well. So that's the other thing about free agency is, you know, you can sit on your hands and go, yeah, we'll build through the draft. But if you don't do anything, you better build through the draft because every pick you miss is going to be amplified that much more.
Yeah.
That's the challenge. But with that, Nick, how about you hit us with that question of the week?
All right, we're gonna circle back to March Madness talk.
Okay.
If you were, a D1 basketball player, and you were, looking at schools and like you have the pick of your school, and you're going into March Madness, would you rather be on a team that you're gonna, have success every year in March Madness, and everyone expects you to have success, or would you want to be on that UMBC team, be that first 16 to beat a one? Like, you're.
Am I a starter?
You're a decent player. I would say you're.
Six
You're
man.
six man. You're
Okay.
6 man. You're one or two off the bench. Like you're not always going to be in the game, but you definitely got minutes. So you can tell your grandkids that you beat the number 1 seed when you were a 16 seed. Like
I think I'd take the consistently good team.
I'm gonna go opposite here. Chances are I'm probably not gonna make it pro. So I would just be like, you know what? I want that cool story where I could say I beat the number 1 seed. You know?
I get it. My thought process is I would probably get more minutes playing on a consistently good team than like a bad team because if we fall behind, I might not come off the bench as much.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, but March Madness changed everything.
Like, am I
Sometimes-
guaranteed the upset win? Because if I'm guaranteed the upset win,
Well, yeah, no, like you're on a team. Like it's not like you may or may not win. Like your
Like-
career goes down, and like you're going to be on a team, and eventually you're going to pull up an upset. Like I would rather be on a team like that I'm not always like I like VCU, like teams like that. Wichita State back when they were good.
I guess in that case, then sure, I'd probably take
Or like
that
Butler
one.
of the year when they made like 4 buzzer beaters to win like 3 games in the tournament. Like,
The Loyola,
it's
the
like-
Loyola Ramblers.
oh, yeah, like okay, you're probably going to Europe to play, or you're just going back to a 9-to-5 desk job because you're not making the league. Where I'm like, I'm the 7th man off Kentucky. That means I'm the 7th best man, like in my school, which means I'm probably not getting drafted. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft, so it's
True.
like, all right, so we're gonna win the national championship. That'd be cool. Or we could take out Kentucky as the number 12 seed, the number 11 seed.
That's
and
fair.
just have
I don't know. That's a good question. And one end, I want to take the upset thing, but also, what if I have like a great tournament and that plays me into a draft board somewhere?
No, you're not. You're not getting drafted.
See, that's the thing. You have a better chance of that, but also if
Is that a chance? Is that
That's just-
Bobby's just saying it like that? If it is guaranteed, I am not going to go pro either way. I will take the upset team. But if you're saying I have a
there's always a
chance,
chance because like you don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes in
I'll take
draft,
the better team.
There's been times in the draft
I'll be
where,
6th man on the better team.
There's I can't remember what his name is.
You're not even 6 foot, man. All right, you're gonna be Allen Iverson.
in this hypothetical.
In this hypothetical, I'm good enough anyway. So what does it matter, Bobby?
Man.
If Nick's over here saying I'm the 6th, if I'm like the 6th man
on
on,
basketball court right now in the NCAA tournament, your team's going to lose by 80 if you're getting solid minutes. I've seen you play basketball.
yeah, like
Hey,
in this case, if I'm taking like 6th or 7th man on, let's throw a team out there, Duke we'll say, I'm either at
It's
my
a good school where he's going to get money hungry.
Where-
Exactly. See, money hungry back.
I picked them because they're like a 5 seed this year. In that scenario, I'm either good enough at basketball to compensate for my lack of size, or I'm just going to be made bigger.
Yeah, but I'm just going in this scenario. You're just not making it. Yeah.
That's great, Bob. I'll take the better team. I'd like to have a more realistic chance at winning it.
You fail in that NFL or NBA draft, and then you got no story to tell your kids. All right,
that's whatever. That's great.
Hey, he was still number 7th man on the Duke team.
Yeah, that's true.
6 or 7. Are we going for a solid 7? Is it 7?
You know who
This
went,
is your 7.
you know who went, you know who went to Duke? Grayson Allen. All right, have fun with him, buddy. All right.
I just picked one. Fine. What do you want me to change the school to Michigan State? There you go.
Oh yeah, fine. I don't really. That's better.
You fucking idiot. Are you serious? You're a fool, Bob. Whatever. I can't even look at you.
Yeah, I want to be on the upset team. I want to be on those VCU teams, those Wichita State teams. They're just
See, look at that.
That's
Pitt,
that's fair
Pitt,
enough.
Number 7,
I'm thinking career aspect here, but
Money hungry, man.
sure.
always going for the money. Man.
Always going for the money. I think that's a great place to wrap it up because we're gonna just start spiraling down. So as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. We hope you like what you heard. If you did, please give us a follow on social media. Share what we share our posts, our podcast episodes with friends or family who might be interested. And we will talk to you next week.
See ya.
See ya.